Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another book review. I had read the official novelization of After Earth after seeing the film, and honestly I can say that it added to the complexity of the movie and just how unbelievably suspenseful it was, and just the whole idea of a survivalist situation being done in sci-fi form. I really quite enjoyed that, and I have to say that the prequel, which is A Perfect Beast, is even more spectacular than the official novelization is, and it also has ghost stories written by other authors, including one of my favorites, which would be Peter David, as a kind of example to learn from as a writer myself. I try to copy how he writes. Well, I don't really try to copy him. I'm trying to imitate him as best as I possibly can without infringing upon copyright. I have my own style. I write nothing like Peter David does. I can't even really compare myself to anybody, although there were people back in high school who said that I might be the next Edgar Allan Poe, but I laughed. I thought, I'm not really morbid like Poe was, though I have a lot of respect for Edgar. Secondly, I don't drink. So that is not one of my poisons, but I do write a good yarn if it's about horror. I have written horror before, and it's not my main genre. My main genre is sci-fi. I like sci-fi, and mainly about time travel. I've done time travel before with my Lux saga, which I would really like to see in print. And I've got another one that I'm going to be writing called Le Chevalier Technologique. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the French name, basically. But in English, it means technological knights, or tech knights. I've got a Technomancer and a Theurgic cleric, and they all have their own. Well, the original versions are just normal people that don't really know the gravity of the situation, this universal cosmic disturbance that's going to occur. And the future self of my main character warns him, and he actually gives him a codex, Enoch's codex. And well, I'm going to go into that later, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. It's very complicated. But anyway, going back to Perfect Beast, it talks about how the Skrell actually perfected the Ursa, and it's really, really, really good. And it also gives you the point of view of how an Ursa actually thinks, how it perceives the world, its basis for living, which would be killing and eating. And it is the most fearsome predator, and I can see why they call it an Ursa, because Ursa horribilis in Latin, basically grizzly bear. Ursa's bear, anyway. Which I knew. I know a little Latin, so it kind of helped. It's really an incredible book, and it's really not that long. It would have taken me a couple days to actually plod through this had I had the time to just sit down and read it. And the ghost stories are really exceptional as well, and all the authors did a really splendid job, and it's just absolutely phenomenal if you read it. I would actually recommend reading this before you actually see the movie, but I've seen the film, and it just added to it for me, because I love the film, and I know a lot of people have said, well, it really wasn't all that great. Well, I really think that it was, and I think that M. Night did something that a lot of people wouldn't normally do. Plus, I think that he has this handle on suspense, because you can tell a story without speaking, just like Hitchcock did. And it's all through progression of movements, shadow, and also, just like I said, lighting and music. You can do it through music, um, and just the progression of certain notes can incline a sense of fear. And in this case, it's a similar thing. I just saw these things occurring through my mind and wondering, actually it does include how the victims, the hapless victims of the Ursa feel right before they're devoured. And it's really frightening. And it's like a horror story in a way, and it's just really incredible. And I just really, I love After Earth, and I'm a big fan of the film, and I know it didn't really get that good of a rating, and I really don't care, because honestly the story for After Earth, more so than Oblivion, I think that this tale, as well as Elysium, are more practical as well as feasible than Oblivion was. Though Oblivion could happen too, but on more of a theoretical kind of basis or occurrence. I don't think it would really happen in reality. But I think After Earth could. I've watched through the wormhole, and they had an episode about what would we do in the case of the death of the sun, which we know the sun's dying. Yeah, we're all aware of this, and this is actually not about the death of the sun. This is about how we polluted the planet so much that we had to build arks, basically just like Noah's Ark and the flood. They evacuated as many as they could out of Earth, and it's like the show After People, if you've seen it. It's basically taken over by animals, and this could happen. This could definitely occur. And we're already talking about terraforming. I've read books like Red Mars, and I wrote a story about Europa. I don't know why scientists don't even consider Europa. Europa could be colonized. Europa has ice, though you have to have augers. You would have to have an auger that would be formidable enough to actually drill through the material of Europa and kind of drill the water out and build wells and all that and make the biodomes to create. You could create greenhouse gases like they talked about in that episode through the wormhole on Mars. You could have machines that would do that, and we would have to wear gas masks, and the gravity would be different. We would be taller. We would grow probably a lot taller than we are here because the gravity has less of a pull. That would be kind of cool, I think. It would be like living in a desert climate, kind of like Arizona. Maybe a little bit hotter, maybe a little bit cooler, but the temperatures would definitely be different. There would not really be a lot of water to begin with, because it would take hundreds of years to actually terraform. And with Europa, I'm not sure how long it would take, even though it's further away. It's in Jupiter. But there's another probability of different galaxies, and Nova Prime is actually one of those that they settle in After Earth, and I thought, yeah, this could definitely be done. Of course, we would have to harness the power of a black hole, the power of a ship, which right now with the Hadron Collider in Geneva, Switzerland, they're working on that problem as we speak. We haven't really perfected a black hole yet. We can accelerate particles to the speed of light, but that's not enough. Those are particles, those are photons, those are really teeny tiny minuscule elements, and we're getting there. It's just a process, and it'll take a while. And I'm in agreement with Michio Kaku that at some point in time we will be cosmic travelers. I may not be, but my ancestors could be in the years to come, and we may be settling other planets, other places. Hopefully we will be better to those planets than we have been to our own little planet here on Earth. But this book actually makes me think about that, and I actually recommend watching Through the Wormhole because it gives you more food for thought, and what they speak of is very possible and very probable, and it would just take more less theorization is good, but the scientists would definitely have to actually sit down and make blueprints as to what these huge vessels would look like. I don't know if they would call them arcs. I highly doubt it. They would just probably call them ships like any other normal person would. But it would take a lot of hammering out glitches and making sure that there were no bugs, and preliminary tests. There would be prototyping, and of course they would probably do it with crash test dummies. I could see this happening rather, or they would probably use chimpanzees, because that was the first. Those are the closest relative to human beings, and they would probably work a lot better. Though I would think it would be more ethically sound to send a dummy. Even, it would be like an android. You could send an android that would have the capability to send back information, just like we do with Curiosity, the rover. That's what we need. We need an android that could be positioned in one of those ships and have the capability to send back information about what it sees, how it interacts with the environment, what would be required. Rationing, how would we grow food? We would have to have greenhouses, of course, but my whole thought when they were talking about the black hole engine was, how would we contain a black hole? How? I mean, they never answered that question, ever. They never answered it. They said, oh yeah, we can create one. We would have the ability to focus all these lasers on one point. They would be so intense that they would eventually create an event horizon. Well, how would you contain it? You didn't answer my question. You've left that question up in the air. How dare you? But, oh well, it's just one of those things to ponder, just like with this book, and kind of makes you curious as to. It just gives you hope that the human race. I think our human race will survive for a long, long time. That's at least my perception of just an idea that we don't really understand, being finite as we are. I do hope that we have millions and millions of years, and we can continue going upward and evolving rather than devolving like I feel we are now in a way. Yeah, we're 0.7 civilization. Hopefully we can become a 1 fairly soon. But it will take time in order to do so, according to Michio, but I won't go into that now. If you've read his books, you know what I'm talking about. So, sorry I went on to this little dissertation of planetary exploration, but it's just one thing that I really want to see happen, and I want to be part of it, even though I'll probably be 100, and I'll say, hey, I'm going to go on the first voyage. If I die, I die. So be it. I'll be your guinea pig. I don't really care, but I think that would be a great way to go out, because it would be quick and there would be no screaming. So that would be perfectly fine with me. Other than that, I can't really say that much about the book, other than if you have a chance to pick it up, because it is absolutely stellar, and you will definitely enjoy it if you liked After Earth or the After Earth novelization. I can't recommend it any more than I do, so I give it 2 thumbs up and 5 stars, hands down.